Yo guys, today we're talking about grip training. So I want to make a series on this topic because I get asked it pretty frequently when it comes to strength training, how to improve your grip, and so forth. So I'm going to make a series. In this video, we're going to talk about the 4 pillars that I like to view grip training with. And I guarantee if you watch this video till the end, you are going to learn something about grip training that you can then implement into your programming. Without further ado, let's dive into pillar 1. So pillar 1 of grip training is remembering that there are 3 different styles of grip. There's pinching, so when we squeeze things between the musculature of our hands and fingers. We have like traditional gripping, which is what we do when we carry things, lift the barbell and so forth. That's creating just a static hold and maintaining your posture on whatever external stimulus you're gripping onto. And then we have crushing, which is taking your forearm and hand and actively trying to crush things. So when we take all these into account, we can start diluting different exercises into the 3 different buckets. And then from there, we can start working towards our grip training goals a little bit more strategically. So if your goal, for example, is to improve your deadlift strength, doing some more like pinching activities might not be the best call. Simply doing more carries and more holds with a barbell will be far better. And remembering that there are 3 different styles of grip will lead us into pillar 2, which discusses specificity. So the specificity of grip training constitutes pillar 2. And when we train athletes in the gym, this is where we have a little bit of contrast when it comes to grip training and traditional training. With traditional training, we don't want to just hammer down movements that athletes are performing in their sport. However, with grip training, we need to be a little bit more specific with our training. So let's look at a couple examples. Let's say you're a rock climber. How are you going to improve your grip for your sport? More than likely, you're not going to be doing some arbitrary forearm curls, but more likely you'll be doing holds with different positions of the hand. You'll be doing a lot of pinching because that entails more specifically to what you're doing in your sport. Let's say you're a power lifter and you want to get better at just improving your grip for the barbell deadlift. You're not going to improve that by necessarily doing a lot of crushing work or doing like aesthetic forearm work, or even doing hanging from like a pull-up bar. You'll improve that by doing more double overhand pulling with heavier weight, more strategic loading. You'll do better with carries and loaded carries for that matter, and using different implements because you're trying to increase the capacity of what you can hold. The only reason our grip ever fails is when the external stimulus overweighs what we have the potential to create and hold. So when we train our grip, we need to be specific in nature. And this can help us be a little bit more strategic with our training. So if we look at the barbell deadlift once again for an example, a lot of people think, oh, I need to improve my grip training, so I'm going to put in these 9 exercises. More than likely, you just need to pull more with double overhand and do more carries. These are going to be much more specific to the activity you're trying to improve on. So in pillar 2, now that we have our buckets of different grip strengths, now we start to get a little bit more specific towards our goals. In pillar 3, we're going to discuss active and passive grip training. So pillar 3 entails active and passive grip training. So as a coach, if a client or somebody like on Instagram messages me and say, hey, how do I improve my grip? I'll usually look at it from a lens of, okay, what are you doing now that could be taking away from some of your grip training gains? So let's look at an example of somebody who uses straps for their accessory work or always opts for a mixed grip or straps when deadlifting. So one way we can passively implement more grip work is to simply get rid of the training tool of straps to support your grip work. Unless you have a very specific like overload goal when using straps, something that would assist your grip, then we really do not need to use them, because at the end of the day, that's just going to inhibit our progress towards improving our grip. The more we can implement ways to improve our grip without changing the whole structure of our training is always the route I kind of want to go down, because when we want to do something like improve our grip, which is very specific for different performance aspects, we have to account for the bigger picture of our program. A lot of folks will want to improve their grip, so they'll do all this extra grip work on the side, and then they get to their deadlift day and their grip freaking sucks because they're so taxed from all the fatigue accumulation that they just randomly threw into their program. So by doing passive work, we look at what we've already built and look for ways we can improve our grip in there. So if you're somebody who uses suicide grip, opt for wrapping the full hand around and actively squeezing a little bit more. If you're somebody who uses straps a lot in your accessory movements or on your deadlift days, try to either one, drop your load in your deadlifts and pull double overhand a little bit more frequently, or work up to the working weight with using double overhand versus popping on straps right away, and opt for accessory work without straps if the goal is to not overload. Now, active grip work is actively adding in exercises and tools to strengthen your grip. Now, what I will say is when we do the active grip route, nothing wrong with that. We just need to account once again for the bigger picture here. So if we're adding in a ton of additional grip work, we should probably do that after a deadlift day or a heavy pulling day where our grip is pertinent for success, so we're not fatigued heading into our prior days. So if you are somebody out there who wants to add in grip work, I will say right now, try to do so in a strategic means that is not going to lead you to a fatigue state when you're working to pull big weight or use your grip for performance. So outside of strength sports, if you're a climber, for example, do your grip work. More than likely, it's going to benefit you most after you're climbing versus before, because again, you don't want to go into your sport with a fatigue grip because that's counterproductive for your sport gains. Again, grip is local, so we don't want to hinder our bigger picture gains with something so local that we can easily strategically modify in a means that isn't necessarily going to hurt the bigger gains of our progress, but also scratch that itch of improving the grip at the same time. Pillar 4 is creating a ratio for your grip training. All right, so hopefully you're kind of following how these pillars are built, right? So we start a little bit more simple, and then we start to get a little bit more complex with how the pillars are built and how we're going to facilitate extra grip work into our training. So pillar 4 is creating a ratio of grip training work that is conducive to your goals and sport. So when we account for specificity, this helps us kind of bleed in what types of movements would benefit us most. So I'm going to work with the deadlift example because that's often the question I get asked the most. How do I improve my deadlift grip strength? So right off the bat, one easy way to do this is to just simply pull double overhand more. Literally use a full mesocycle on using just double overhand work and use your grip as a cap for how heavy you can pull. That is going to accumulate, I think, more quality reps when it comes to actually using the grip style you want to improve on for the specific goal at hand. From there, we can look at breaking our accessories into what would benefit us most. So deadlift grip strength, that is a primary gripping style. However, what happens often is it'll roll out of the hands. So doing some pinching work could be beneficial, but more than likely you're going to want to do a higher ratio of carries and other holds where it's actually more specific to what a deadlift is. So doing farmer's carries is a great example. Doing holds with weight for time-based activities, even doing hangs off pull-up bars can be beneficial. Then from there, we can do a little bit more of a finite approach for doing things for like pinching. So doing like plate pinches and so forth to really focus on hand strength. So now that we're building and accumulating more grip strength, we're focusing on like the more local, even of this local aspect, which is squeezing with our hand. So a ratio for somebody who like wants to improve their deadlift strength could be 1, opting for a majority of the work being double overhand work, and then from there doing maybe like 2 or 3 exercises. And again, the numbers are arbitrary because it's going to be conducive to your goals and what the task at hand is, but 2 to 3 like more carry work, so a little bit more specific to your deadlift, and then maybe 1 or 2 exercises for like pinching, which is an aspect of deadlift strength, but it's not the full aspect, and it's not going to be always the make or break for bigger pulls. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, but basically what I want to get across is when adding in more grip work, take your goals and your task and then bleed movements together that lend into both of those. What you're going to want to do is create a hierarchy of the 3 different styles of grip strength and place more emphasis on the exercises that are a little bit more specific to your task and goal, and then work down from there. You want to build a full, well-balanced grip, no doubt, but there are ways to do it in a means that is not going to take away from, again, the bigger picture of your grip gains and your performance. Hopefully this video makes sense. Grip strength is often seen as a very simple concept, but I've somehow made it a little bit more complex. But I think once you wrap your head around the complexities of grip, it makes it a little bit easier, I think, to seamlessly integrate in movements that are going to be helpful for your sport and goals. Because look, at the end of the day, if you're somebody who just started lifting and you never played a sport growing up that involved a lot of grip, so no hockey, no lacrosse and stuff like that, you probably need to make up a little bit more ground when it comes to just having a natural level of grip strength. So having strategy behind your training is never a bad thing. In the next grip training video, I'm going to talk about hook grip, which is another huge topic I get, and talk about why it sucks to get used to, but why it's so freaking awesome once you acclimate. But as always, guys, drop a like on this video, drop a subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you all. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.